What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another What If. Today we're going to be covering something that I'm honestly really shocked I haven't even covered before, and that's the whole idea of Minato surviving and also Kushina. Now, I'm pretty sure it's relatively easy to put it into your head how this story is going to go. Obviously, Naruto's actually going to be having guidance, and that's just the whole thing that we're going to be exploring, how Naruto's life might have turned out and how the Naruto world would have shaped itself out had Naruto had the guidance of his father and mother there to guide him throughout his journey, and maybe even make things too easy. But with all that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys go on to enjoy today's video, definitely make sure to slap up that like button, seeing as the YouTube algorithm is not being very kind to me right now. But with all that out of the way, let's get started.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
Okay, so this what if can pretty much be brought into existence in one of two ways, but we're going to be going with the second. The first one is obviously the most simple, which is essentially Minato just doesn't use the Death Reaper seal, and the second one is that Hiruzen comes in to save the day and pretty much has a little bit of a passing of the torch moment with Minato. I mean, I personally did enjoy the battle between Orochimaru and Hiruzen in the original, but the thing with that is that, I mean, obviously he sacrificed himself for the village and all he managed to do was seal arms. This time around, he's gonna literally save so many things from happening just by saving Minato in this moment. So obviously we get the battle between Minato and Obito, which does go down exactly like it does in the original, with Minato's iconic Rasengan to Obito's back and Obito pretty much being forced to retreat, with Minato rushing back into the battlefield, but this time with Minato trying his absolute best to essentially fight off against the tailed beast. This time around, I'm going to be saying that Minato doesn't make the grave mistake of having Naruto anywhere near the situation, right? This time around, I'm actually going to be saying, because Naruto does technically have to be close by because of the sealing process. So Naruto is nearby, but the thing that's going to be changing here is that Hiruzen would pretty much jump in from the top of a building with his adamantium staff stretched out, and he would use that as well as his top tier speed to essentially get to the battlefield as fast as humanly possible. I mean, Hiruzen ends up making it to the area, and once Hiruzen is there, he would proceed to essentially come in with the staff and just whack the tailed beast with it. Minato would look to Hiruzen and begin to pretty much say that he's gonna have to be the one responsible for sealing it, and once Hiruzen realizes what Minato's about to do, Hiruzen this time, instead of just watching him do it, would say, "Minato, stop!" As Minato, he kind of stops midway of doing the jutsu without actually completing it, and Hiruzen says that, he should let the old man do this, that he's had a good run at life, but that it's about time that the next generation shows why it's better. And from here, I would see Minato having some a really cool moment where he would weave the hand signs, right? And Minato would kind of just bow his head in respect in a really cool passing of the torch moment with Hiruzen, truly giving the village up to Minato for him to make every decision on his own. Now, Minato watching Hiruzen sacrifice his life using the Death Reaper seal would have to essentially help him out with controlling the Nine Tails, with Kushina using the Uzumaki chains so that they could successfully actually end up sealing the entirety of the nine-tailed fox inside of Naruto. In the original, they only give him half, but this time around, I'm going to be saying that he's actually the bearer of the entirety, just because I do believe that it would be better, and I don't really think it's going to change. I mean, obviously, his chakra pool will be doubled, but it's it also would actually help him with the controlling of Kurama, because in the original, he had the most angry part of Kurama and the part that was even harder to control. This time he has a slightly more tame version of him, right? But regardless, Minato, after all would be said and done, would go over towards his newborn baby, right, Naruto, and he would hold him in his hand and just kind of realize that his son's gonna have to grow up a Jinchuriki. He can already like tell how his life's gonna be, so Minato already puts it in state that nobody's really going to be knowing about Naruto's power. Now, Hiruzen in the original obviously made it a secret, but this time around, Minato is pretty much going to be keeping that a secret until he becomes a Chunin, because once at that point, he's almost confident that his son will be fine. And due to the fact that he is the son of the Hokage, he doesn't think much will happen at that point. So what would end up essentially happening here is that because Minato is the Hokage, he would actually change a lot of things leading to Naruto growing up. Number one of the biggest things that's actually going to be changing in this version because of Minato being alive is his actual being there for the Uchihas. They will not be ostracized and deemed the villains of the nine-tailed attack because Minato's actually there to step in the way and not let anybody berate the Uchihas or even bring any form of blame to the direction of them. He would have a very peaceful meeting with the leader of the Uchiha clan, the father of Sasuke, Fugaku Uchiha, and we would pretty much end up seeing a moment in which Minato and Fugaku would see eye to eye, in which Minato ends up pretty much stating that the Uchiha police force will have more to do in the village and that the Uchiha's ostracization will pretty much end with him, that is no longer going to be happening. And when Danzo tries to pretty much fight off against this, Minato sternly would remind him who the Hokage is, who's in charge, and that Danzo needs to remain in his place, because Minato is just going to get straight to business. I mean, they don't call him the Yellow Flash or a run-on-sight ninja for no reason. He's not going to be getting like bossed around by anybody except for his wife. Some like 5'4" girl, maybe like 5'2". That's crazy to think about. Yeah, truly guys, like the only person who can really put us in check is our girls, if you really think about it. But regardless though, Minato would end up actually being an excellent father to Naruto, and because Naruto actually has the guidance of Kushina and Minato by his side during his early years, Naruto wouldn't have to have a thought of what would it be like to have mom and dad. Naruto wouldn't have those years of getting bullied and being pushed aside for no reason. Instead, Naruto would actually grow up a lot like Boruto would in the Boruto anime, and instead of being spoiled or bratty because of the way that he was raised, because of the fact that he has Kushina there to pretty much keep him humble, Naruto would not end up getting those kind of same personality traits as Boruto. However, that talent that Boruto does display in the anime would pretty much have ended up being passed down to Naruto, and because he would be able to train with his father for so many years on end, he would actually have the ability of being on par or even more than what Sasuke would be during their years in the academy. And now Sasuke in this version would actually never end up going through an emo phase. And this would be a good thing because not only do we keep Sasuke in the village, but we actually also keep Shisui and Itachi in the village, with Itachi never having to join the Akatsuki and Obito having no pull whatsoever over the Leaf Village. Obviously, one thing that would not be able to 100% be stopped would be the overall defeation of Obito. And the way that I'm going to be handling that is pretty much going to be a very quick way that I actually heard of from popular Naruto YouTuber Swag Kage. Pretty sure all you guys know who he is, so me telling you guys to go check him out won't do anything. But Swag Kage is just one of those Naruto explained guys who just really goes into depth and truly knows his stuff. So I'm not even going to be questioning what he would truly believe would happen. I genuinely believe a lot of what he says, and going with this notion would probably fit this story the best. I mean, obviously it's a fact, it's a well-known fact that Minato's flying Raijin markings never disappear. So a couple of years after the events of the Nine Tails attack, I do believe that Naruto would, since he's being raised and, Minato constantly had that fear in the back of his head that that man would return one day, would decide sooner than later that he would actually end up asking many of the most powerful shinobi in the village at the time to essentially go with him to defeat the masked man. He would ask shinobi along the lines of Fugaku, and he would also end up taking some Anbu members as well as Kakashi with him to end up handling the inevitable threat of the masked man, right? And the way that this would end up going down is essentially that once they end up arriving with Obito, they would end up having an all-out battle in which Minato and all of the ninjas against him would end up defeating him due to the fact that Minato's flying Raijin marker would be one of the many counters that, Obito would have to his Kamui abilities. And once Minato would be finding out who Obito is, I think that it would, generally speaking, be a heartbreaking, shattering moment where Minato kind of realizes that one of his failures in the past came to haunt him years and years and years later. So after seeing that it was Obito, Minato would end up pretty much trying to right his wrongs that he would have made in the past. So, after finding out that Obito was the masked man and having actually put him to rest forever and killing him, Kakashi, also knowing this now, would kind of not really know what to do. But because they don't want to just let that eye fall into the wrong hands, Kakashi would actually take those Sharingan and give them to Fugaku for him to be able to decide what it is that he wants to do with them, and not actually give back Kakashi's, because at that point it's already become a part of him, and Fugaku can more than respect Kakashi. Even though he's not a full-blooded Uchiha, he definitely deserves that eye, right? And so we end up getting a very, very strange situation in which Kakashi and Minato would both kind of end up having this bad taste in their mouth from Obito, but kind of hold the good things in their memories instead of the bad. So they kind of just push the fact that he was an evil man to the side and just kind of praise him for all the good things that he did. And they're happy that they stopped him before things could have gotten worse. So the village hidden in the mist would never turn into the bloody village, right? The village hidden in the blood or something, right? Basically what Zabuza was trying to stop. And the Hokage Yagura never would have ended up becoming a thing. He never became tyrannical, and he was just himself. So that never ends up happening. And the Akatsuki's formation still would happen, unfortunately. However, without their true leader, their intentions would actually end up changing a lot, because now it's going to be Nagato's Akatsuki and not Obito's. And because they don't have Itachi, they're weaker by 2 members, Obito and Itachi. So the way that the Akatsuki formation would actually end up changing would actually affect a lot, because Itachi was the one who defeated Deidara, and I definitely think that somebody else on the Akatsuki could have done it. But I don't think that they could have done it with such ease. And they might have actually ended up losing a member while trying to gain another one at the same time, which is kind of a strange concept if you truly think about it, but I digress. So what ends up happening following this is essentially Naruto's early childhood years alongside Sasuke would essentially be spent with the 2 boys essentially being able to train alongside their respective trainers, right? With Sasuke having Shisui, Itachi, and Fugaku there to teach him a couple of things, and Naruto actually having his mother and father there to teach him how to get over the chakra siphoning ability of Kurama, so that Naruto would actually be able to tap into his chakra reserves and not have to worry too much about Kurama. He's able to water walk and tree walk at an earlier age, and he would actually be a very, very well adapted ninja when it comes to his wind nature transformation jutsus. Naruto's taijutsu would pretty much be on par of that of like Lee's at this point, because of the simple fact that Minato does believe in hard training. And so because Naruto would actually grow up akin to that of a genius, Naruto's progression would be extremely rapid. And Naruto in this what if would actually look a lot like his father, haircut and everything, wanting to resemble that of the greatest ninja of all time. Because this time we're actually going to be going under the assumption of what the Naruto story actually set up for us so long ago. Recently I watched a video by the name of a creator called Dino Knight, who actually went over the actual, not a theory as much as it is a well-known fact, that Minato was actually going to be the strongest ninja of all time until the creator, ended up retconning that and making it so that Hashirama was actually the strongest back then, so that Madara could have more of a higher power. Because if Minato was the strongest, then Madara would have been even weaker than Minato, who Naruto at that point already had surpassed. So we're going to be going with that idea that Minato is actually still the strongest shinobi alive. And the Raikage would always have been afraid afraid of him during these early years, so he's never going to try to do anything to the Hidden Leaf Village. And also Inoki would actually be terrified of Minato because he took out 1,000 of his own ninjas, so that's not going to be an issue for him. But Naruto this time around, due to the fact that he's actually going to know his lineage very well, he's actually going to be respected amongst his classmates, and characters such as Sakura would not think he's annoying as they would in the original. He would actually have his own platoon of girls that would actually love him just like they would with Sasuke. And ultimately, once they make it towards the direction of where they're going to actually be picking teams, I think that this time around Minato's actually going to use his pull to get Naruto to be on the team with the heir of the Hyuga, Hinata Hyuga. Now, why am I doing this? Because I like Hinata way more than I like Sakura, and even though she's not going to be an a-hole to Naruto in this version, I still generally speaking think that it would be kind of a cool idea to have the head of the Namikaze clan and Uzumaki clan, as well as the head of the Sharingan clan, you know, not the head, but like one of its members, and a member of the Hyuga clan all on one team would be extremely beneficial to the village. They would create a powerhouse-like team. And because Hinata's not going to be on the other team, she's going to be replaced by Sakura. What a surprise! But I digress. Anyways, though, what pretty much ends up happening this time around is Naruto would actually already know Kakashi this time around, so you would already be well versed with the fact that Kakashi's definitely going to show up late. I mean, Kakashi being on time is more rare than somebody winning the lottery, so it's kind of crazy. And you know, as expected, Kakashi would end up arriving late, but Naruto and Sasuke would actually have ended up been talking that entire time, and Hinata would have actually been invited in the conversation. When Kakashi enters the room, he would actually walk into a full team of just people actually vibing, and not this room of awkward tension or even a prank. Naruto would say, "What's up, Kakashi sensei? What do we do now?" Kakashi would tell them to meet them on the roof, and Naruto, Sasuke, and Hinata would all do that, you know, very happily. Sasuke's intentions in this version are going to be changing from that of revenge to essentially becoming the Hokage. Naruto's going to be to surpass his father. Hinata's is going to be to become a very powerful kunoichi and going to be a responsible leader of the Hyuga clan someday. And everybody's choices would be absolutely respected. When it comes to the bell test the very next day that Kakashi's going to be putting them through, Minato, being the dad that he is, would definitely more than likely tell Naruto to actually eat some breakfast. You know, not too much, but just give him a little food. And I definitely see Kushina, you know, being like, "Why would you tell him, Minato? He's supposed to figure these things out on his own." With Minato just being like, "Come on, like, we gotta give him a little help." And Naruto being like, "Yeah, thanks, dad." With, you know, him, you know, kind of saying bye to his mom and just jumping out the window, right? Now, Naruto out of this moment would be wearing the iconic Naruto jacket, and he would make his way towards the forest about 2 hours later than they were supposed to be intended, because Naruto would have told this to Hinata and Sasuke, and so they would only have to wait about 30 minutes for Kakashi to arrive. He would end up apologizing for his late arrival, with him asking how long they would be waiting, and they say just 30 minutes. They got there 2 hours late, knowing that he was going to be there late as well, and Kakashi would be like, "Oh." But regardless, he begins explaining the rules of the bell test, and Minato would actually come out to watch his son perform in the bell test, right? As well as Fugaku, which would actually be extremely surprising for Sasuke, who would actually be there trying to support Sasuke and there to give him as many tips as possible. Sasuke, because his father would be watching, would immediately begin the bell test with a bang, and so would scream, no, not scream, but let out, "Fire style, fireball jutsu," right at the direction of Kakashi, as Kakashi would immediately dodge out of the way, not being surprised at all at the fact that Sasuke can use such a jutsu, being the son of Fugaku, and Minato would end up coming in flying with some taijutsu and wind style base attacks, shooting a wind bullet at the direction of Kakashi before taking a kunai out and rushing in at Kakashi, trying to use his ultimate speed to essentially catch him off guard, using a couple of shuriken traps, and also using a couple of other contraptions that he would have ended up using to try to deduce a way to find Kakashi's weakness. Sasuke and Naruto would be using both of their taijutsu attacks to go in, and Hinata, feeling useless, would finally end up rushing in, activating her Byakugan as she would begin to try to use her gentle fist technique. Kakashi, upon seeing that the team would all equally be trying their best to work as a team, even though they're slipping up here and there because they're not exactly like used to each other, they would be trying, and that's what Kakashi is looking for. That's what Kakashi's looking for, especially this time, because he remembers remembers what his team was like, and that if they would have avoided that, Obito would still be alive today. Obito never would have turned to the dark side, and maybe they could have saved him. And so Kakashi's very, very picky when it comes to the team that he was going to pick. He even told that to Minato, like he's not going to just let them pass just because he's his son. But Kakashi would have a smile on his face so bright, knowing that this next generation is truly going to be great. And Naruto would be there with Sasuke and Hinata as all of them get congratulated and passed on as they all become genins, and they would celebrate immediately afterwards. Actually, at the house of Minato himself, with Fugaku's entire family actually being invited. And so, Itachi and Sasuke's mother would actually be present, to actually, be there for the kind of celebration that Kushina would whip up, alongside the help of Sasuke's mother, who would be there to help her cook a couple of other things. And they would end up just having a grandiose night with a bunch of celebrations, with Naruto essentially having a very, very happy start to his journey that we are going to be seeing throughout this 4-part series, most likely, considering we're going to be covering the Chunin exams, then we're going to be covering the Tsunade retrieval, and I don't know what we're going to be covering after that, but we're definitely going to be covering a lot of things, and it's going to be just a very, very dope story that you guys are not going to want to miss out on. So definitely make sure to slap that like button, seeing as the goal for this video is actually going to be 1,000 likes. And with all that out of the way, it has been your boy Xehther. I love each and every single one of you guys, and I am out. Peace.